Was I watching?
All right, here's the interview. So I was listening to the young man just a few moments ago talk about when he woke up and saw, a certain percentage move. And I'm going to be honest with you. My palms were a touch bit on the sweaty side. This is the second time that something like this has happened. And what I find fascinating is this actually, I deal a lot on percentages. This actually wasn't my biggest percentage win, but this is probably the second or third. This is the number one win overall cash value wise, but I think it's either second or third when you talk about a percentage return for something that was overnight.
Now, tell us a little bit about the stock. What was the company? What was the ticker? And how did you figure that was a trade that you wanted to jump on and take advantage of?
Yeah, absolutely. So let me first, I'm going to start off. I want to thank God for, number one, linking us up.
Yes.
Because this thing happened a little bit over a year ago. I think the first time that you and I crossed paths.
Mm-hmm.
And if I can recall, I thought you were from the Midwest in Detroit. So I appreciate you having me on the call with you guys.
Yes, sir.
And I'm hanging out with you. You guys have whatever questions you have. I'm accessible. But I'll walk you through it, man. So let's pull up ADPT.
Okay.
Adeptus.
All right. ADPT, Adeptus Health. And yeah, I mean, the chart has pretty much disappeared now, but ADPTQ is all that's left right now. That's actually all I can see. But
all right,
I mean,
do you have access to a yearly chart for ADPT, like an old one?
Let me see
Let me
here.
see if I have it on my Thinkorswim. Quick. ADPT. Yeah, it's still on my toss.
Yeah, if you can hit me with that on Twitter, I can post a picture of it and we can at least look through it. But
okay, good deal.
As for my trading view, yeah, it's pretty much deleted that history.
Okay, hold on. Let me snap the picture because I got the big screens on. So just in case, I don't know if we were screen sharing or what today, but let me send that to you real quick. And where is it? All right, you should have it on your Twitter feed. It might be a little hard to see because I got like all kind of stuff on my charts. My charts look like Japanese writing for those who have not been in Japan or learned how to read it. But so here's the scoop with ADPT. Because I can see my screen, I'm going to walk you guys through essentially what I watched and how we built the play up. Number one, ADPT over the last 45 days, I think had topped out at about, actually, we got to go back to October. October is when they had a significant gap down from the $30 area. They ran down to about 10, and they've never seen 10 again since then. And since that time, we added another significant gap down that happened when they were just over $6 and some change. They gapped down to about $4, and they've never seen 4 again. So what you see now is a pattern. 2 weeks later, we have another gap down. That gap down went to 184, but the difference with that gap down is that they did recover. They actually ran up and pressed at 360 on April the 12th. So one would say, why would you go from 90 cents to nearly 370? I think they have some news. It came out, if I'm not mistaken, they said something about traders attributing the upside in Adeptus Health to a 13D filing. Wexford Capital, I guess, put an 8.5% stake in with ADPT. And, naturally, if you're short, that's going to press them. And then, of course, other folks who want to be long, that's going to draw their attention to it. But as far as reading the chart and what the chart said, essentially what I had was the ADPT revisiting 38% fib resistance spot. And then, of course, once it got weak after that, I think 222 was overhead for the next fib from the 90 cent to 222. And then he started to get some bad news come out on the 17th.
So Billy,
on the 17th,
but real quick, just so that some of these beginners can understand, you're a swing trader, right? You're very rarely are you jumping in and out of trades intraday.
No, I'm a day trader.
Are you? Okay.
Yeah, so when the guy said he was holding something for 6 months, I think I typed in your chat. I was like, Man, I had a seizure just thinking about holding something that long. That is not my go at all. And I have something overnight. I would just prefer not to hold it overnight. I don't even care if it's a good win. I'd rather just come back tomorrow and get back in it, because if it's going to be playable, it's going to be playable the next day.
Okay.
Okay, good. You got the chart up. Perfect. All right. So is that a daily chart?
This is the daily chart going back to November of last year. I wish I could zoom in a little bit bigger, but
that's cool. This is sufficient for us to see what we need to see. If you look at April 10th, you had already seen the bleed down, but then you get two strong bars with volume that pressed it up.
Mm-hmm.
So what I want to focus in on is, where did we come from to go to 250?
Okay.
Right. And so that beginning part, I think on April the 11th, let's just call it 90 cents for round numbers, so it makes it easy for folks to calculate how I'm going to discuss the play. So from 90 to $2.50, you're talking about $1.60 up, right?
Mm-hmm.
160 up, and then we start fading down. So if you fade down, I expect you to 50% retrace. But what happened is they got some very bad news, so that knocked that completely out the works. So I was actually short maybe a day or two before, and I took a very small win. So we have first red day, 417. Then we have another red day on 418. So you're getting the red days coming back in. Well, if you look to the left of this chart, when you get that run of red days, all you do is get a lot of bleeding more, and then a gap down.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of bleeding more, and then you get this little press up. But here was what was interesting about the play. If you will touch maybe that's the 19th, I believe, is the day that I entered. That's a Wednesday. So that one that looks like it's an up bar, it basically came down to, I'm going to call it says the low was 115 that day.
Mm-hmm.
The close the previous day, the high the previous day was 194. And so now if we're 50% in that, round numbers, 2 to 110, 90 cent, 45 cent plus 110 puts you at 155. After that bounce, when you get to 155, you should not go anywhere, is my thought. I mean, so we have a fib that's there on the short term. We have a 50% retracement that you probably won't get past after that. So I'll start accumulating the position in the 140s.
Mm.
And I initially started with, I started
Wow.
And so here was the goal. Now, I just spoke to you guys about 50% retracements. It made a low of 110, and it went up to, and again, I'm just going to use a round number for numbers' sake, to 150. Well, split that in half, 20 cents down off of their high, 145. My goal was to shoot them down to 121. That was all I wanted. And so I'm watching it. I was actually on with one of the guys who trades with us a lot. His name's John. I'm like, man, it ain't dropping. Maybe I should just go ahead and close it out. You know, I don't like holding stuff overnight. And we're talking, and I'm trying to decide. And next thing I know, the bell hits. I'm like, okay. Well, so now we analyze the chart. Everything else about the chart said you're good to hold it overnight. My 50 moving average, my 200, everybody lined up to say, hey, you're going to be fine by tomorrow. You'll probably get a gap down or a sell off. And 12 minutes later, I got the news that it was halted. And then later I found it.
And that's the best news that any shorter can ever have, is when they're in a situation where it's going to be a multiple day hold, because you pretty much know you're guaranteed in the green.
So, and here's what's interesting about it. This truly was my first time ever being in a halt for something that was going bankrupt at the time that it happened. So I had never been in the position. So what I told the group was, I said, well, they've consumed some capital. I can still continue to trade. And I'll just have to wait it out. I mean, I'm going to have to learn one way or another what happens. And on Friday morning, when they went over to ADPTQ, Thinkorswim didn't even add a chart. They're like, we don't even recognize it. But on my interactive broker, I can see my P&L. So I blindly got out of the trade, probably at 51 cents. I have no idea. I got out at 9:42 in the morning. That's what I see all of the transactions go through. Because I just initially, because I was so excited about the play, I tried to mark it out. But what I found out with a few months back with BTUUQ, you can't mark it on bankruptcy stocks. You got to do straight up limit orders. So when it came back to me about 3 or 4 minutes after I'm trying to figure out why it's not going through, then I just put a limit order to buy everything at 70 cents. I probably put it at 70 cents just because I wanted to get out. I didn't want to have any issues. So it ended up being a very, very good win. And here's what's amazing, Sal.
Mm-hmm.
Friday was my 1 year anniversary going full-time day trading.
Wow. So you've only been trading for 1 year full-time?
Yeah, 1 year full-time. I traded for about 6 to 7 months part-time before that. But, the first quarter of last year, I was able to put myself in a position to just go ahead and go full-time.
Okay.
And we ain't looking back. Can't go back to work. They're not going to pay me that in the
Yeah, of course. Trade. What were you doing even before you started trading?
Okay, so by profession, I'm a registered nurse. So I've been in healthcare, been looking after and taking care of people since the late 90s. I graduated in 2002. Started my professional career in Atlanta, and then I started travel nursing for the next 12 years after that.
Mm-hmm.
And what's amazing is I was at work when the Ebola virus kind of hit, and it was like a panic. If you guys can recall,
right.
Our society, our nation was threatened now by this epidemic. We had the nurse or the healthcare provider that was sick in New York that they had isolated in their room. And then up the road from me, I live in Houston now. Up the road from me, we had a gentleman that lost his life in Dallas with the Ebola virus. And so at the time, it was on my mind. I wanted to start doing something with stocks. And it just happened to flash on the news. It was a company called TechMira. TKMR was their ticker at the time. Mm-hmm. And so I'm just listening, and the lady's like, yeah, the FDA is going to allow them fast-track designation because they may have a vaccine to protect, the citizens of the United States. The stock price is up from $8, and it's now like 32, something like that. Mm-hmm. So, Sal, I do numbers real quick, man. I'm like, well, hold up, time out. You just mean to tell me my $8,000 in my bank account could be $32,000 overnight?
Right.
So this is when it gets dark. I was like, Lord, just give me one more sick Ebola patient. I'll even take care of them. But I want to get me some of them TechMira stock first. And that never happened, either one, but at least that sparked the interest. And then that's when I started looking into and doing Google searches about trading. Mm-hmm. I think I ran across Tim Sykes' 7 free videos in August of 2015. Mm-hmm. Went out to his Trader Investor Summit conference in Las Vegas, and I think it was October of 2015. Came home, I paper traded no less than 20 to 30 trades a day for about 30 to 45 days.
Oh, wow.
Got some ideas and strategies. I mean, a lot of that was just order entry, learn how to put the orders in. Mm-hmm. And then take a concept and just do the concept. It doesn't matter, it's paper. So just get used to putting the stuff in and evaluating, by profession, the nursing process to assess, diagnose, plan, implement, and evaluate. So I did the same thing with stocks. Mm-hmm. Assess the stock, diagnose, do I want to be short or long, make a plan, execute the plan, and then evaluate at the end when you get out. And I saw somebody just said 30 to 40 paper trades. It's not that hard. And it's, you can just look at a scanner. You're going to get 30 tickers that are up over 5% in one day.
Right.
Trade them all. It ain't going to hurt you to trade them all. And then, but then after you trade them all, then start trading with the purpose. So I'm trading this because it's gapped up. So I'm going to do all gap ups today. Everything that's gapped up, I'm going to trade it. Mm-hmm. Everything that's gapped down, I'm going to trade it. Everything that's up over 5%, I'm going to trade it. Everything that's below 5%, I'm going to trade it. Everything that is, green, red going, or everything that's red, green shortable, or everything that's failing and open, everything that's holding and open. So all of those concepts, I was very busy about just trade them and see what thing it is that you find yourself, more comfortable with. And I think maybe I opened up my interactive broker in November. I was involved with K-Bio. K-Bio statistically is my percentage biggest win ever. I was
That
overnight at
that was an
25.
insane stock.
Yeah, and I was kind of busting them in the head. Well, let me tell you guys before K Bio here. Let me go back to August when I started trading, and I was trading in August out with no concept of any theory or process behind a trade. I was just making money accidentally, honestly.
Wow.
And then TVIX happened. I lost 1,800 on TVIX. So, and it was house money, but the fact was, this is the feeling that I had after I lost that money. I don't know how I made money the last 30 days, and I have no idea how I just gave money back. And that ain't a good feeling of not knowing.
Right.
So that's what sparked you need to understand and have a better knowledge base about what you're doing. That was like the thing that kicked the hunger in. So the K-Bio now, I had an idea. We had a runner. This thing was at $2. I think it squeezed Michael Good and a whole bunch of folks when it ran up. Some big investor, I think Martin Shkreli was involved with them. They shot up to like $14. So with them, I was buying them at 17, selling at 20. Buying at 20, selling at 22. Bought some at 25, held it through Thanksgiving. Again, I ain't really like that feeling. I woke up, like the gentleman said, I woke up Friday morning on a half day, and the stock was at $55 a share.
Wow.
I shook my wife. I said, look out, I got to get upstairs. I got to go close this stock out. So that percentage-wise was over 100%. I had a big win on Skies maybe 6 months later. And then I just been hitting singles ever since then, man. Singles and doubles every now and then. And then every once in a while we get a big win like we did on, well, nothing that big, but that was a pretty good play.
Wow. Now, Billy, how long did it take for you to discover a strategy? You mentioned that you were paper trading for 45 days. Within that time, were you able to define what your trading style would be, or did you have to kind of go back and forth between paper and live to eventually, figure that out?
I want to catch Astrid because she had a question. I want to make sure, and I'll get that one. So Astrid, it was assess, diagnose, create a plan, then implement your plan, and then evaluate your plan. And then that's just a circle. You go back to assessing because the evaluation is also assessment. So at the conference, I got a lot of concepts at the conference, and I'm gonna say it took the full 30 days before I had one that was comfortable. Like I wasn't using any indicators. I'm gonna just be transparent. As a young trader, I was like, if you guys saw my screen right now, so if you put that picture up that I sent you, people would be like exactly what I was. I'm not putting all that stuff on my chart. That's stupid. That's how I felt as a young trader.
I'm about to show them to them right now in just a second. Yeah. But yeah, I know some people would see that.
That's how I felt as a young trader.
And say, wow, this is ridiculous.
Right. And so then I started to think about the greats. I mean, I think we have over 200 people on tonight. If I ask everybody who's the best basketball player, I think we're going to probably get a consensus of Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, somebody in that caliber, right? But here's what I'm going to promise you. Whether it's basketball, baseball, football, hockey, tennis, any of the greats, if you put a picture of them up right now, you're going to see each and every one of them with some type of equipment, some type of protective gear, whether it be tennis shoes, helmet, cleats, baseball helmet, bat, glove, whatever. They naturally are gifted, but they still use things to protect them. And the truth of the matter is, this is our capital, and we want to use what things that we can use to protect our capital. And so that's when I started looking at, using indicators to help be that protecting thing. And so I think my very first indicator that became familiar and comfortable for me is the relative strength index. Very clear cut. You got overbought, oversold. You don't have to do a lot of thinking. I think you have it on your screen. So the picture that Sal has up, that's one of my flex grids on ADPT. So I'll tell you what I have on there now because it's deep, and honestly, you don't need all that. This is just the desire to want to gain knowledge. But you got candles, you got money balls is what we call them in our group, but they're parabolic stop and reversal points. We got Fibonacci lines. We have the RSI, the relative strength index. We have MACD and its histogram. We have the ADX along with the directional, both positive and negative and ADX lines, plus parameters outside of those. And I also even have my thinkorswim where auto plots certain arrows and certain dynamics that are of interest to me based on, once a certain criteria is met. But, layering knowledge and having an understanding of how a thing relates with a stock, it takes us out of the ball game. It takes our emotions out, which I think is one of the biggest challenges for traders. The Fox is who well, if you guys watch recap videos from me, I often refer to her as the Fox. That's my wife. She trades as well. And she's a little more emotional than I am. And the truth of the matter is, if I buy $10,000 worth of Walmart, nobody at Walmart is excited. So if they're not going to be excited about me buying it, then I need to not be excited on my end about me owning part of the company. And that's a big challenge, because I promise nobody ever goes to lunch no matter how much capital you put in. Or if they don't stop working, they're going to continue doing their thing. So that's one of the things that I like to use with the indicators, because they're not emotional. They're just data points. They're data points to help you read and understand the language of what we see on our screens. Yeah, that's a good thing, because I know a lot of people who would say, well, that's just confusion, or but just to the way you described it, as you said, data points, they're able to allow you to understand what's going on. I think that's a really perfect description on how to use indicators. Hey Sal, let me catch Craig real quick. Craig, and I know this is a little confusing with some folks too. I'm not a Tim Sykes student, because I know that Tim will sometimes refer to me as one of his students. And anybody that's followed me, I think that you all are aware that he and I had a little bit of a little fallout last year because of my statistical performance, and that's neither here nor there. It's nothing personal as far as I'm concerned. But I'm not one of his students. I use penny stock and silver. I went through all the videos and I learned, and I still get stuff from them, but not officially a challenge student. That was something that I declined to do. I wanted to kind of get out there and find it on my own. So
there it is, man. Now, one thing, Billy, as you become successful, and your name comes out there, one thing, you will notice is that it brings out that hater spirit in people, man. And people who you thought were, hey, man, you support me, I support you. All of a sudden, they become, rivals, man. And it's not even something that you don't even really look at them as competition. It's like, wow, I didn't think you would be the type of person who would, try to, come at me like that. And I'm just curious, how have you handled that, man, as you became more successful as a trader? Obviously, your faith plays a part, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Man, let me, I'm going to lean on my faith big here. My journal posts, you guys can follow that at WolvesOfWall.Street.wordpress.com. My day starts off, and even tomorrow morning, I already have my Bible verse for tomorrow. I already have my journal post for tomorrow. In the Bible, it says that there's a thing called the bait of Satan. And the bait of Satan is a thing that when you get offended by a thing, right? And so, and the Bible says that offense is going to come. You cannot avoid being offended by a thing. The thing that you can control is the way that you respond. That's the one part that you can. And so no matter what someone thinks, no matter what someone's opinion about your desire to want to do a thing, the authenticity of who you are, you're with you your whole life. You. So all you can do is, I playfully tease about it. Like I think I did a recap video and I was being silly with it, but I truly don't take offense to it, because at the end of the day, if I'm offended, is it going to make any sense, or does it bother that person to be? There's no benefit to being offended. Do I have emotions? Absolutely. I'm a human, right? And it's disappointing when you see people that, you look up to and you learn from. What's up, Armando? What's up, bro? Armando hangs out with me too. What's up, bro? I just feel like, the thing with Tim, when you had a question about a thing, his approach on this play was much different than what it was last year. Last year was a demand. It was, you better do this, you better do this. And the truth of the matter, I don't have to do anything. I have to get up,
for real,
create me a watch list, trade. That's what I have to do. I don't owe anybody anything. So if I use your platform improperly, consider that me being a blessing to you.
You,
because
right? Exactly. You doing him a favor, right?
At the end of the day, I don't get paid when I run my chat room. I don't charge anybody anything. And again, this goes back to being a nurse. I care for people. I want to see people do well. You understand what I'm saying? So if you're offended by me wanting to do well by others or my success, that's okay. That's one thing you're not ever going to control. All I'm going to say is, Lord, help me deal with these things when these things come about, and let me continue to do your will. Only thing that happens is when you have a platform, you're going to have problems that come with it, and that's okay. But there's also a promise that comes with the problem, and you can always find that in the Bible.
There it is, man. I really wanted the people to get a sense of what it means to be a complete trader, man. And I love the fact that every morning you put out your watch list. And what's interesting about your watch list, man, it's handwritten. It is a handwritten watch list. And if you can, brother, please go over, like, how do you start your day? What are you looking for in the morning for yourself to trade?
So normally what I'll do is my watch list is like prepared for tomorrow already. I carry over from one day to the next when things are still in play. And then in the morning, I have a scanner that's looking for things that have statistically moved a certain percentage with a certain amount of volume. So what I'm looking for is I need you to be in play. And here's one thing I wanted to share with everyone on here today. Number one, if you look at my watch list, the reason that it's handwritten is because I'm stimulating more senses than just my eyeball. By using your hands, you're using your tactile or your touch. You're seeing what you're writing down and you're thinking. So that's a multi-sense stimulus. So it slows you down, number one. And then number two, if I just put it in a computer, I don't have any sense of it belonging to me. So let's say I put a ticker on my watch list. Here's the awesome thing about the whole situation of life, Sal. Warren Buffett has a lot more money than all of us. I think we got 200 people on tonight. If we put all our money together, it probably wouldn't equal his money.
Right.
What's the level playing field for us that don't have that type of money? Time. Everybody has 168 hours a week. He can't buy more time. He can't sell time. And here's the other part that makes it even for everybody. The word percentage. We only have numbers that go from 0 to 99. Once you get to 100, you're just doing it again. So if I can have a 5% win, if it's 5% of my capital and his 5% of his capital, it's equal. It is not cash or profit and loss equal, but that's the part that makes it even. So anybody can make 100% on a thing. You just have to be able to be in the position at the time to take that trade and be ready to take your profit when it's suitable to take your profit. And so that's why I like to write, and I like the fact that we can, make moves statistically on percentages. You have access to the internet. If you could go to Compound Daily. Let me type it in UNDAILY.com. It won't let me do a .com thing on this situation. Let me just put COMP.
Yeah, go ahead and type something. I'll make you a moderator so you can put it in.
Okay, compounddaily.com.
Yeah, go ahead and type anything in there so I can make you a moderator first. Even the high. And then the very next all right, there you go. Hold on, let me add a moderator. Okay, there it goes. Now you can go ahead and type that link in.
Okay, boom. So if you click that link right there, compounddaily.com, what I like to do at the beginning of the morning is it will only let you put up to 100,000. But most of the people that I trade with, we have $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 to trade with. What I'm going to show you guys is something I find very fantastic. I mean, put $2,000 in there if you can, Sal, on your screen. and just put in there, we're going to try to gain 3% a day. And we're going to be pattern day trade restricted. We're not going over the short trader. We're going to deal with a broker that's here. We're going to try to get 3% per day. And we got 156 days to transact, because at 3 days per week, that's how you are as a pattern day trade restriction. So I think the initial capital normally defaults at 5,000. Change it to 2,000. Change your daily interest rate to 3%. The length of term, 156 days.
156.
And then we're gonna daily reinvest 100%. We don't need to pull this money out. We need to grow it.
All right. Let me see if I can pull this up a little bit. All right. So go ahead and calculate now.
Wait, yeah, 100%. There we go.
Zoom in a little bit more. All right. So with an investment of $2,000 on, of course, if we were to start today, as you said, just at 3%, over the course of those several days, you're talking about by November growing to its biggest.
Well, it'll be next year, April, because it's not taken into consideration. We can only trade 3 times a week.
Right.
But of course,
okay.
if you go through it, once you get through 5,000, then you're not restricted. But just as a point out, you gotta have a dream, and you have to have a vision.
Sure.
Right. And this is a good way to have that vision. Now, this is the long-term goal. But if you have 2,000 in capital, that's great to see that long-term goal. Put that somewhere, keep it close. And now just change it to 1 day. And that's what you need to do today. You can't get to the top of those stairs without each one of those steps. But the top of the stairs does exist. It is reality, right? And if you can see it, that means that you can be it. So then if we take each step consecutively, we can get there. So now the question is, well, what if you lose? Listen, I'm looking at my watch list for tomorrow, and these are tickers that we're on today. TRCH moved 23%. I believe you can get your 3% in there somewhere.
Right.
IMNP moved 20% today. I believe you can get your 3% in there. CYTR moved 35%. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8 tickers that have moved double-digit percentage today. And so let's say we get one today, and we make 20% today. Well, guess what? You just sped up time. Right? Or you just bought yourself some of the learning trades in the future. Like with my group, this is what we have. We have earning trades and we have learning trades. We don't even use the word losing, because if you did not have the same capital at the end of the trade and they took capital from you, what's the lesson that you learned there? If you didn't learn a lesson, then that's an issue. But if you learned a lesson, oh, I see that maybe that would have been better and it could have been an earning play. Now that's part of my visual acuity. The next time I see a setup like that, I'm going to be better prepared. And the next time you see that setup, you're going to get that 3% back. I promise you'll get that back.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, breaking it down to 3% just makes so much sense, and it puts also, it gives a picture for somebody who's only starting with a couple $1,000s. And I think that's so important for somebody who doesn't have a lot of capital to have at least an idea of what their future could look like if they do it right. Well, I'm gonna be 100 with you guys. I started with 3,000, and now naturally I added capital later. But the truth of the matter is, I know what it feels like to be PDT restricted, right? And I was PDT restricted on purpose. I didn't have to be, but I on purpose kept myself PDT restricted. And here's what I love about it. It makes you look for the absolute best play. It makes you look for because you don't have time. We don't have time. We don't have time to play around with this thing. We got to make sure that we pick the right one today, right? So everything got to lined up. It's got to be a sweet play. It's got to be something that I'm very comfortable with and I'm very confident that's going to work. And then you take that play. So I pattern day trade multiple plays a day because I look at each and every one of them as the individual play that has to be right today. And that's kind of what's kind of led to where I am statistically. I mean, obviously a year later and I'm still over 90-some-odd% win rate. Wow. And ladies and gentlemen in the chat room, I want to show you as we go down the chart here. I mean, the earnings, those are like little earnings. I mean, what I asked you for someone with that size, that's actually good. I mean, $60, $63, $65. This is very, very doable for somebody who's got a $2,000 account. They can really do this. And I'm looking at this.
It's realistic too. And guess what? If you scroll down to like day 60, here's what's getting ready to trip you out. So if you can scroll it down to day 60, I want everybody to see this thing at day 60.
There it is, day 60 right here. 343.20.
Guess what? That is the exact same play that you took back on day number 1. There's nothing different about that play. That is the exact same play. That is the 3% gainer or winner setup that you learned 59 days ago. Guess what? 4:15 in the morning, guys, they're going to open the doors of the Wall Street. We're going to be able to do it all over again. Something going to move 3, 4, 5% tomorrow. I promise you it's going to move. Just be there and be ready.
Wow. So what you've talked to us today is about just, really breaking trading down from this huge concept to really making it, breaking it down to your level and understanding it, step by step, but also, that these little grains do end up, adding up to something really huge. And as we go down the days, I can see here, man, this is really can grow into something. But yeah, greatness takes time, man. And yeah, what it's done for you in just 24 months, but really just 12 months of full-time trading. It's been absolutely incredible.
Been phenomenal.
So what are your goals moving forward? Where do you see yourself 12 months from now? What would you like to do with your trading and the process moving forward?
So here's what we have going on, and I see Surefire. I don't know if Surefire is being funny or not, but if Surefire, you can email me on Twitter, man. I'll shoot you.
Yeah. We talked about that hater spirit again. That hater spirit, comes out when people like us start talking about success. That hater spirit comes out. You know what I'm saying?
I love it though, and so I did it really. I didn't do it for me. I did it for people because I know that there might have been some concern about whether it was authentic or not. And I sent it to Tim, and I think Tim put it in his recap video the other day. You guys can see all the transactions. And so that if it was ever a question, now you see what it took a while to accumulate. You can see every second. You can check it against the tape. Get the tape, stick the tape next to it. All of them transactions are mine. But for me, a year from now, so here's how I look at it. I have a 1-year goal. I actually have my Marathon to $1 Million journal post will be done this week. And this is the same one that I actually started when I started trading in November 2015. So November 2015, that thing was personal and close to my heart. I pinned it. I didn't release it to the public until this past September. So September through the end of 2016, I had it public on Profitly under Marathon to $1 Million. And then this year, I put it on WordPress from January. So next week on, May 1st, I'm going to be, I have a whole new list of journal posts. Mm-hmm. And my belief is, and I walked into 2017 believing I'll cross the 6 zeros this year.
Oh, wow.
And it may happen sooner than the end of the year, but my goal at the beginning of 2017 was, listen, I want to birth this baby. I've prayed about it, Lord. I think you put it on my heart, and I think it's very attainable. I mean, if I can make it go back up there and change that 3%, make it 5%, and watch how quickly we get over $1 million. It can happen very quickly.
Let me see this.
I put a low number because when you put bigger numbers, I think it just makes it almost, what?
Yeah. And here's the thing. A lot of people, we put 2,000, but, a lot of people start out with a lot more than that. But you'll be surprised. The people who start out with the most, I mean, they're the ones struggling the most too. So, but that's a different thing. But yeah, man. I mean, 2,000, 5%. $100, and it just builds up from there.
Yeah, it can be done. It can be. I've watched what compounding has done in my life, and I've watched it. Like the computer, we can see it on there. But my first 6 months, I hand wrote it out. I was at work actually. I was at work taking care of patients, and I was handwriting. All right, if tomorrow I do another 5%. And I did that through 6 months. I got tired. I was like, I got to find something on the computer to do it for me.
Right. Yes,
I didn't want to keep doing that every day.
Yeah, there it is. I mean, yeah, your first day on the job, 100, and then the next 105, 110. Again, these are very, very doable if you catch a good runner, a good market opener. You know what I mean? This is very, very doable. Very, very doable when you break it down like this.
And the thing I like about 3% is, and here's what's amazing. If you say 3%, you really underpromise yourself and you over deliver when you get a 10%. Because imagine if your goal was 15, but you only got 10. Oh man, I didn't get my goal. But if your goal was 3 and you got that same 10, I just tripled my goal for the day.
Right.
So it puts your mind in a positive lane, and you need that positivity when we're dealing with these thoughts. You got to keep yourself uplifted. Absolutely.
And Billy, just for clarification, obviously you still study, right? I mean, you still study the craft. It's not just kind of waking up and trading, or do you still study, the craft?
No, I still study. You can't stop. Like I just added ADX to the fray within the last 45 days. Absolutely. I mean, I like what I have and use to set up. But so here's what's I keep everything on TraderView, and I'll put you guys a link on my TraderView so you can see my trades as well. But I've now, since this marathon is almost done, I've now gone back and I've done like a 10-day window outside of my entry and my exit to see, did I leave too early? Could I have made better profits if I was more paid? I'm analyzing what I could have done better, even on wins. I'm talking about winning trades, all right? And so what I found is, Sal, it's phenomenal that here's what I believe. These tickers that you want, you got to continue to keep them on the list because they're still don't forget about them because they're paying money out. Like if you look at ETRM, we had ETRM earlier this year. We had IDXG, all of these plays that on the backside of the move, they were throwing money at you. So I might have got short one day, got paid and left them alone. Don't leave them alone. They still got a check for you. So stay there until they tell you that they don't want to pay you. And a lot of them going to pay you a lot of days in a row. All right. They're going to pay you a lot of days in a row. And so what I found on my 10-day windows, I was missing probably 3 to 4 times of additional gains by not continuously staying in plays. And now when I did the back test, I only looked at one ticker at a time. I didn't even look to see if I played it multiple times. I just looked at, was I making great choices, first of all? On these tickers that I played, was it a great choice? And I think so far through 36 of them, I think I had one trade that was a loss. And so what that means is you were on the right track, but stay on that right track, stay on that lane. So when it comes back to tomorrow, what setup presented for you? Was it an opportunity for you to take advantage of another 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 9, 10% gain? And it's pretty much always there. So I'm continuously learning. I'm learning about myself as a trader. I'll tell you guys this, and I don't want to step on anybody's toes. This is like only my second time in here, so I'm not putting down any other software that is used for tracking trades. But I'm not giving a plug for TraderView, because if you do get TraderView, don't tell them it was me. I'm just letting you know, for me, statistically, it has broken down where I'm strong at, what tickers, what price points I'm better at, what times of the day I'm better at, what times of the day that I'm worst at. On my best wins, how long am I holding the trade? On my worst losses, how long am I? So it's like statistically, we study these tickers, but we also have to study ourselves to see what things that, so when we see, oh man, I'm really good at tickers between $5 and $10. So then you got to be disciplined enough to say, look, $4 ticker, I can't mess with you. There's plenty of 5 to 10s that work for me. So then you find that thing that works for you, and then just, I think I sent something on Twitter the other day. You can be a master of 10 things and be undisciplined and not make money. You can be disciplined on one and make more than the person that had 10 different setups.
Absolutely. I mean, they say repetition, is the mother of skill. When you trade, what exactly are you? I mean, you kind of told me what your setups are, but are you looking for breakdowns? You're buying dips. What exactly? Like, how are you exactly making? Obviously, we explained the bankruptcy play, but is there a go-to setup that you use more often than others?
I try to mentally stay balanced. I try not to be biased one direction or another. Now, if you look at my stats, you're gonna be like, man, he's a short seller. Well, that's because I'm always late to the party, so I don't have a choice. But I'm not gonna chase it. So I've been disciplined enough not to chase. But I'm objective enough to take a long if it presents for me and I'm on time. If I'm not on time, I'm very big about I'm not gonna take the trade. If I'm not on time, I'm not taking the trade. And on time to me looks like pull up. And here's what's funny, like. ADPTQ is getting all the attention, but IMGN, I killed IMGN that same morning. That was the strategic play with no luck, and I think we did like 5 on that one, shorting them off of a 420 fib that they didn't like for the last 3 months. And if you look back for the last year, every day of earnings that they discuss earnings, they move 40 cents per day, and it's 3 out of the 4 times it was down. So they failed their open 3 out of 4 times. Well, I'm not telling you to fail your open. You've already told me that. You said, hey, I don't like my earnings. And every time my earnings pop up, I drop. Okay, thanks for letting me know, IMGN. What are you doing up $1 in the last 2 days? You see that gap up? Okay.
Yeah, see it right here. Beautiful.
You're at an area where you should not be. And I have a lot of resistance in my favor up there. I'm short at 421, and I'm out at 2 cent trailing at 387. And guess why? I shot it at 390, because every one of those days that they talked about earnings, they moved 30 cents. So statistically, I'm saying, all right, well, if you just moved 30 cents, like you said you would do every other time that you had it the last 15 months, just move 30 cents down off the open, and that's exactly what it did. So that one was just the best strategy play. Less capital on it, but to me that one worked as promised. So let's do this. You want to bring a ticker up, and I can tell you what I'm seeing on it. And because a lot of times I have at the open, I have what's called and this is my own thing. It's like I call them money balls. I make it personal. So if I say something, I'll try to explain a little different if you guys aren't.
Yeah, let's talk a stock today that just kind of died at the open, which was OPTT. And a lot of people don't understand why did this stock act the way it did today? Even though pre-market, it had a huge, insane rally pre-market. You had a lot of people excited. I saw in multiple chat rooms, everybody, hey, I'm jumping on OPTT. And then it opens up and it just dies. What happened here? And what could we have seen to prevent people from losing money in this?
For me, here was my issue with OPTT. Interactive Brokers didn't have shares short. It was for me, it was very clear to short it. Can you go to a 3-minute chart or a 5-minute chart, and I'll show you how I would have played it.
Let's go to 3 minutes. All right, there's the 3-minute. You should see it on your end in just a second.
Okay. And I'm gonna, while you're pulling yours up, I'm gonna send you my chart because I had it marked up and I was ready to do the thing until they said, sorry, not available. Oop. Let me send this to you while you're pulling it up. You don't have pre-market on yours, okay?
Yeah.
So no worries.
But this one, I know it rallied pre-market insane though. Yeah.
So I'm gonna send you this picture, but we'll stay on your screen for right now, and then after your screen, I'll show you how I read it for after your screen, we'll show you how I read it pre-market. So here's what I call this is my open and range breakdown. I think it's the technical word, but this is what I call I think if Armando is still on, he'll tell you, this is what I call a red-green short. So a red-green short is, number one, I don't need it to be anything but to communicate to me what it wants to do. First of all, you failed your open, right? Is that positive or negative? It's negative. It's already speaking to me to be negative. Okay, good deal. I'm not rushing into the trade because I want to see what are the bulls going to do, because the bulls ain't going to just let you do whatever you want to do. I mean, they're going to put up some type of fight. That some type of fight happens at the 942 mark where you get those 2 little bitty greens. So you have the reds. When the reds are done, you set your bottom. You let the next color form. You have your greens. You let the greens go until they set their top. You put lines on that. Who won the fight? The bulls, the bears won. So when it broke down below the first set of reds, it was a short from there on. And if you shorted there, all you did was get paid the rest of the day.
The whole day. That was crazy.
The whole day, right? Or bear flagged it. You could have took those two little greens, put a little trend line from that first red when it changed color at the beginning, trend that little bit up. It broke down through there. But for me, pre-market, if you could bring up your Twitter picture, I'm going to show you how I had it marked. I actually had an up channel. And I used, parabolic SAR and what I call money balls. When it took that parabolic SAR out at
let me load your
8:30 in the morning, that was the long play. And then when it took the money ball out to the downside, that was a short play. Both of them paid you over 10%, both directions. It's the only time we can go both ways, Sal.
That's crazy. Let me, and everybody go ahead and press like on this video, man. We got this man dropping dimes over here. This is a man who's turning himself into a self-made millionaire, dropping some heat that, you usually typically would pay up to $5,000 for. So press like on this video for him donating his time to us. And by the way, I'm also going to give your YouTube channel, because you also have a YouTube channel that people can go for even deeper information on your strategy and also how you get set up. So, but here, yes.
Sal,
go ahead.
Sal, I'll for YouTube, you guys will see recaps. But my buddy Reggie teases. He's like, man, you don't really go. The recaps are really. They're very dry. I don't get too in deep about the recaps. Now you can see my pre-market prep. Like I got a pre-market prep video from December.
Okay.
But when I do the recap, I do say some stuff, but it's not what you see right now. Nobody sees this screen.
Oh,
they see Trader View screen. They see very, very bland stuff. And it's enough to get you there. I mean, if you got to me, I don't want to I want you to be able to go find out why.
Right.
I have enough for you to go look at the chart and say, why did he take that trade? Like, what made him, what did he see when he saw the thing that he saw? And because if you see this, you might not understand it. So I'll break this down. If you can go right to the middle where there's like a money ball at that gold line, that's the Fibonacci short-term golden ratio right there. And my Thinkorswim does them automatically, so I don't have to do any math or anything. I don't have to try to figure it out. I let them do it, and I move on about my day just based on what it's saying. But it looks like about the 8:30 a.m. Eastern time spot right in the middle of the screen. Mm-hmm. You can see that there's a red arrow pointing down on the yellow line. When that yellow line gets broken to the upside, that was your go. And that price at that time was $2.85. So I always say worst case scenario, you would have bought it at $2.90. $2.90, you went to $3.20. That's 10%. If you are patient enough, you got all of that up there to the next field level on the daily chart, which was 363. And here's what was cool for me. When it went to 363 at the top, that light blue line up there, to me, that was time to short it. What's my confirmation? When it takes the money ball out to the downside and when it breaks that channel. The very first candle, it broke the channel. I mean, you see a green and white line crossing with the EMAs. You see it fell in the VWAP. You see it fell in my 50 moving average, and then there's a light gray that you barely can see faintly. 200. It's running at the 200, so it wants to go see about what's going on the 200 down there.
Wow.
But by the time it even figures out what it wants to do, I'm already out of the trade. I mean, I'm going to be short here, that worst case scenario at 320, and I'm trying to shoot you down to 280. I got 280 in 12 minutes, and I'm out of the way. And the rest of it, I would complain about it on my recap video. Like, I wish I stayed. I always say that, but most of the time I'm not serious, because if I clock out and I'm green, here's what I know. I told you guys made 3%. This one play right here, OPTT, I just showed you probably a 30 to 40% winner in the pre-market. And then there's another 10 to 20% on the short on the open. Yeah. So you just made on 2-day trades, you just made 40% on your money. So that $2,000 account is now $3,000. Trade one more time tomorrow and don't complain the rest of the week. Practice. Get them practice jump shots up. Steph Curry gets in the gym and shoots 1,000 shots that we never see. Get them paper trades in the game, guys. And that way you have when it's go time and it's game time, it's not a big deal. It's like, okay, I know this. This is what I've been practicing for forever.
Wow. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I mean, I feel like we've covered so much. I know there's so much more to talk about. And Billy, I hope, we can definitely do this again, man. I can have you on for 8 hours, because I think you're a wealth of information to, for beginners to really just soak up from, man. And I'm just so grateful for you coming on. I know there are a lot of people who want to talk to you, so I really appreciate you coming on the show, man.
Hey man, anytime, man. You got my Twitter, you got my personal phone number. So if it's anything that some particular somebody talks about, and like I think Billy would be a good person to have on. Just give me a few days advance notice so I can make sure I schedule it around family time, and we'll make it happen.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just to end things, you mentioned earlier that your wife is also trading with you now too. Speak a little bit about that. I mean, did your success, kind of get her to also jump in? Did it become a thing where it's like, hey, you can quit your job and do this too as well? I mean, I think that's awesome that, as a husband and wife, that you're, setting the example for your child as well, that, as a small business and growing this into, what could be heck of fun one day. I mean, what did it mean to bring your wife into the, to the fold?
So here's the deal. We were on our vision retreat. We do it yearly at anniversary time, and we're very competitive, Sal. We at putt golf, and we're going at it, right? And so it wasn't. She didn't come later. She was on time. She was starting at the same time I was. We had a bet that I won't disclose, but I'll tell you this: I had to send the people to go get my money from her regular job. I'm just kidding, but we had a bet. And the thing for her is that she's now been blessed to be in a position where she's also able to say goodbye to her full-time job now. So wow. she's behind the curve on the learning part. But if you guys watch my videos, I often tease about the fox. She does a lot of dumpster diving. And what I always tease and tell people is she's always trying to get or be long these stocks that have lost all this money, but she finds great tickers. So she has her own thought process and how she finds tickers, and they do quite well. And every once in a while, I might go get them and short them back down because they had no business bouncing in the first place. But I think she had like a CRV. She had like a CRVS a couple weeks ago. They dropped from 18 down to $9 or something like that, and she ran them. She ran them from like 9 to 11. And the thing that her challenge is, she's got to get through the emotion part and then the knowledge base, but she's going to be sharp, man. I think I'm on a time me by the time I get to my goal, but I think she'll beat me once now that she's full time as well. I think she'll probably get there faster than me because, wow, because she's more aggressive than me too. So she'll let stuff run, and I'm not like that. I'm very tight with my stops. I feel like I don't have any money to give them, period, at all. Like, I don't even like paying the transaction fee. If I could not, I probably wouldn't. But, if I give them 1% back on the win and I'm up 10%, I'm kind of in my feelings about it a little bit.
Sure. Okay. So last question, Billy, because I really love to give people, a vision of what their future could look like. But how has obviously your profit, your gains changed the family, like your family and the things that you're able to do as a provider for your family? How has that, that your wife has looked at you, have other people around you looked at you? How has, this profit changed, what you've been able to provide?
I think that the biggest part for me and is that one thing that I told you that we all have in common, that 168 hours a week, the time. There's nothing that replaces time. We cannot go back and get yesterday, right? And so when my daughter comes home and she has track and field tomorrow, guess what? I'm there. When it's daddy daughter donut day, I'm there. When it's whatever, if she just wants me to come for lunch, I can be there. Like, and she knows that, Daddy, I want you to come. And I never had that, wasn't afforded to me. My parents had to work 2 jobs sometimes, right. You know what I'm saying? And so nothing, money is great, that's fine, but nothing beats the fact that you can spend time with people. Like last summer, we traveled the whole country. We went through 20 states, Al. I worked half days in the morning. But guess what? I got to see everybody. I didn't have to ask for time. I didn't have to switch days. I didn't have to come back and work a couple and then go back. None of that. I just went and enjoyed life. And then, we still have financial responsibility. So we get in, we do what we love to do. I enjoy doing this. So it's not like work. I'm having fun.
Right.
And I just happen to, benefit from the thing that I have fun doing. So the time and being able to do things, that to me is irreplaceable.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Billy, again, thank you so much, man. I'm just, I'm in debt to you, man, because I'm so grateful for you coming on to the show. And I have so many new people who just recently started trading within the last year, last couple months, last couple days. So for them to be able to hear from somebody so dedicated, man, it's a blessing. And I know you'll be rewarded for that again, Billy. Thank you so much, man.
Hey, no doubt, man. Anytime you guys need anything, you let me know. I put a couple links in there. If you guys have some questions, Sal knows how to get with me.
There it is. Thank you so much for the call.
Y'all have a blessed evening. Let's get up and bust them in the mouth tomorrow.
Will do. Will do. There it is, man. Thank you, Billy, again for the call. Appreciate it, man. Look, I can't tell you guys, how important it is to really heed some of the things that he said, man. Just by the sound of the guy's voice, you can tell how incredibly disciplined he is with his craft, how incredibly focused he is, how much he really and truly, appreciate what he's doing, how much he really appreciates what he's doing and the effort he puts into it, and man, I'm not going to stay too much long on here because I want to really keep this show about Billy and him coming on and all that. So go ahead and go to his YouTube. He put the link in there, right? Yeah. Oh, yeah, I see it. He put the link in there. So make sure you check out his YouTube, his Twitter. Yeah, follow him on Twitter. He just put his Twitter in there. And again, sorry, I don't know why my camera is jacking up. You see the devil's at work right now. My camera it never does that. All of a sudden it started doing it today. I'll figure out what's that. I'll probably reinstall the driver or whatever. But again, his thought process, I wanted you to hear how he talks about, his craft and just to hear the dedication and again, the hours of studying that he's put in, so you can understand what it looks like and what it sounds like to be somebody who takes this very, very seriously, All right. And for somebody who, again, that's translated into some amazing things he's been able to do for his family. And now he's in a situation where his wife is now being able to trade full time. So you've got a man who's now, turned his whole family into, traders. All right. And the sky is the limit because they're only going to get better. That's the great thing about it. He's only been trading for, 2 years, actually 1 year full time. So he's only going to get better. His wife is only going to get better. And he even said his wife will probably outdo him. Absolutely incredible story. I really hope you guys took a lot from that. I know I did. Please, again, take advantage of his resources that he offered. He's available on Twitter. He's got a YouTube. That Compound Daily, I think that's huge. He offered that Compound Daily. I mean, I know some people in the audience right now, you only got $500. You only got $1,000. You only got, when he mentioned paper trading anywhere between 30 to 40 times a day, 30 to 40 times. Again, just understanding how to put in the order. All right. Understanding how to put in the order. I know many platforms out here have paper trading functions. All right. Defining what your strategy is. What are you looking for? He mentioned how, using TraderView to understand where you're successful, what times you're successful. He mentioned, finding a price that's right for you. Maybe you're only, you're a $3 to $6 person, a $3 to $5 person, and avoiding everything else under that you don't have to trade that. That's not for you. All right. Real deep stuff. All right. So you don't have to go back and listen to it. I think this was a gem of an episode, really a gem of an episode. I'm going to continue to bring more speakers in to speak with you guys, more traders who can share their knowledge and we can really learn from. Like I said, I like people who are real, people who are more importantly relatable. I think it's so important that the people are bringing are relatable. That you know, they don't come from any kind of where it's just like, okay, this, you know, I don't see myself in
Wow. All right. That's the day after the interview. So let's go on into today was Marathon to a Million day at number 71. And I actually didn't make any trades today. We were hanging out with the voice, doing our thing, enjoying her and her tug of war. This is her getting it in right here. Go green team. Let's go green team. Boom, there it is. That's how we Wolves feel when at profit target. All right, so day number 71, your success gives others hope. Today's Bible verse was Philippians 2:3-4. It says, do nothing from selfish or empty conceit, through factional motives or strife, but with an attitude of humility, being neither arrogant nor self-righteous. Regard others as more important than yourself. Do not merely look at your own personal interests, but also for the interests of others. At the Cross by Hillsong United. Journal Post reads, one of the most inspiring aspects of this journey, which I am sure you are already experiencing, is that your success is giving others hope that they too have the power to succeed. Your example is being noticed by more people than you might even realize. You're becoming respected and recognized as a leader. Always remain humble in your doings. Keep priorities in line with the core of your being. Challenges will always come your way, but do not operate in fear. Your success, as well as it inspires others, may at times cause confusion or possibly jealousy from those who have yet to understand the process by which you came to this place. But do not operate in fear. Joshua 10:25 reads, do not fear or be dismayed. It says, be strong and courageous, for this is what the Lord will do to all your enemies against whom you are about to fight. You will become an example for others, who will in turn become an example for those closest to them. And then Joshua 14:13 reads, and I will do whatever you ask in my name. This I will do so that the Father may be glorified and celebrated in the Son. This is the last day trading, or last week for a Marathon to a Million. We'll be starting over day number 1 coming up May 1st. A whole new one. This will be like a volume 2. And just kind of just articulates that I'd like to thank all of the team that have watched me share this journey from when I began to share it publicly back in September. I hope in some part that it has been at least a small help in each and every one who has had an opportunity to read them on their own particular journey. And then, of course, we still have a few more days left, 72, 73, 74, 75. So tomorrow will be day number 72, April 26th. So we'll see about that. And we'll take it from there. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Catch you tomorrow.